Hello. Welcome back to my vlog. I'm Colby. If this is your first time here, glad you're here. Intros are awkward. I don't like them. That's that. I actually wrote notes. Look at me go. We'll see if I follow them. So I thought I would do a video about kind of how to have, or what my current fitness and nutrition goals are in light of everything that I've been dealing with hormones and all that for honestly the last couple of years. And so how do I make fitness goals? How do I make nutrition goals and all of that, and what mine kind of currently are? Thought it would kind of be a fun one. When you start having issues, health and fitness goals become more complicated. That's the best way I can put it. Before, I had things that were coming up that needed to be dealt with, nutrition and exercise. It was just like so simple. Well, as long as I look healthy and fit, well, then I must be healthy. And so when other things start coming up, then you really just realize there's so much more. It's such a lie from the enemy that our health and our nutrition all boils down to like, well, if you look healthy, and you're a healthy weight and you work out every day and all that, then you are healthy. And that's just not always the case. And so I think it's a lie from the enemy because it keeps so many women focused on that physical goal. And I'll talk about that a little bit later too. But, and then we're often willing to like shove health things to the side because when we're living this healthy lifestyle of working out and eating in a way that makes sure that we don't gain weight, or we maintain our weight, or we lose weight. So this is where there's just finesse in the fitness and health and nutrition world. And so right now, my goals with fitness is literally just to feel strong and feel healthy and feel energized. So not depleted, not like running myself ragged, not out for like extreme calorie burn. There was a time when I had little kids where fitness was my outlet, and it still can be and it still is, but I was doing insanity like 4 days a week, and on day 5 I couldn't figure out why I was so exhausted physically that I actually couldn't do another day of it. So we're going for strength and longevity. And so I'm back doing Carolyn Gervin's iron program. I'm doing it through the app this time instead of YouTube. I've done the YouTube one so many times, I just needed something new. I had done a lot of Pilates the last couple months. I think it was really nice on my body, but I missed lifting heavier. So I'm still going to incorporate a little bit here and there, but I don't know. I'm a weights girl. I just love it. And the dancer in me loves Pilates. But my attention span is not there for Pilates all the time. Like sometimes I just need this straightforward lift your weights, be done workout instead of having so many small movements to think about. So I'm gonna try find a balance of that, but basically that's my goals right now as far as fitness goes. Now nutrition, I feel like this is where things get real interesting. Like nutrition comes with a lot of mindset things and all that. So it's not as simple as, oh, I set my macros and I'm going to stick to those. And my goal is body recomp or fat loss or muscle gain or any of that. Right now, my focus is having to be a little bit different. Like I don't have that luxury right now of adding stress to my body, which anytime you're losing weight, like in a fat loss phase, that does add stress to your body. So just keep that in mind wherever you're at in your journey. And I'm not saying fat loss goals are bad. I'm just saying that's not my goal right now. So really, right now, a few of my goals are to be gluten-free and mostly grain-free. And this was a hard one for me to get behind, but I mentally have had to get myself here because my hormone test indicated inflammation. Now, as I'm learning more and more about low estrogen, and none of this is advice or anything, talk to your health practitioner. But, disclaimer, but one thing I learned even on a podcast today with Chelsea from the Christian Health Club podcast, she was interviewing a lady about hormones, and they were saying with low estrogen, and I knew there was like heart health issues and bone density issues that could come up from low estrogen, but inflammation is actually something that can be higher when you have low estrogen. Estrogen helps fight inflammation, apparently. So that was really interesting. But grains are one of those things that are kind of known as something to cut out if you're dealing with inflammation. Like, they can cause it. Not for everybody. Obviously, everything is always specific to your situation, but in my case, I'm kind of just looking for ways to lower inflammation. And so right now, that's something that is a nutrition goal for me, is just to be consistent with that. I am a moderation girl, so I love being able to incorporate a little bit of everything into my life. And I make sourdough bread, I mill my own grain. And so for me, it's always just been a really tough thing to convince myself to cut out, because, well, I do it all in the best way possible and I'm not overloading on it, so can it be that bad? Now, I've just had to come to a place where it's like, maybe I just don't get to. Maybe that's what my body needs right now. And maybe it's a time span. Maybe it's forever. Maybe I feel amazing not having, maybe it's just gluten and I can add other grains in, but maybe I feel amazing gluten-free. And that's just what my body's been needing for years, and I just haven't given it to it. So I've had to come to a place where I'm willing to push past that a little bit and be the gluten-free girl. That was kind of the decision behind that, and that's one of my nutrition goals right now. My skin does seem to be a little bit happier at the moment. I don't know why. It could be supplements I'm on. It could be the grains lowering inflammation. Could be skincare that I've adjusted to after a good 5 months. I did just finish my cycle. I did get a bit of a breakout on my cycle, but before I was having like consistent all month long. There really wasn't a window where I didn't have a breakout, and so it's feeling a little more normalized at the moment, if that makes sense. Am I tracking macros right now? So I'm kind of partly tracking, partly working on being intuitive with my food. Some days I'm tracking simply because like my mindset needs it. I just need structure, and I know that if I don't give myself structure, I will find a loaf of bread and eat it all. So that's just how my brain works. Sometimes I need that structure, and then other days I wake up and I feel really strong mentally, and I feel like, hey, I can get through the day and eat 3 amazing nutrient-dense meals and not overthink my food, and not overeat and undereat. I'm not, well, undereating's never been a problem for me. But but I can kind of do this intuitively and have a good day. And when I do track, I'm being very mindful of, if I'm still hungry when I get to the end of my macros that day, I will add a little bit. I'm just don't want to add any extra stress to my body right now by withholding calories if it's asking for it. So really trying to tune into those fullness and hunger cues. So back to kind of I feel like with women, it always comes back to fat loss and whatnot, but fat loss has not been a priority for me for the last 2 years while I work through all of this. It has definitely challenged me mentally. I think as women, we just always feel the pressure to improve and look better and, you know, defy age and all of that, especially in the day of like Botox and fillers and filters and editing and all of that, in this massive online presence everybody has. And, you know, it's being shoved down our throats all the time of like how to not look older, how to reverse aging, how to prevent aging. And I'm all for like aging gracefully and looking your best through it. But yeah, it's just, we're so inundated by how we appear. And so I think anytime as a woman you approach health and fitness, there is this part of you that's like, and maybe I'll look my best too. So that's been something I've just had to challenge myself on. Like, is it okay if nothing changes? If there is no physical appearance goal that I'm looking to reach? Because that can be motivating. It can be motivating for your clothes to fit better and whatnot. And in this season, honestly, there's been moments where I'm afraid that I'm going to go the opposite direction, and I've had to just release that and listen to what my body needs, and, you know, not fight it as it's trying to heal. Our bodies naturally want to heal. The Lord made them that way. But we can do a lot to prevent them from being able to do that. So I'm trying to create an environment where my body can heal. And so yeah, I think we can feel really afraid to take a different path than what we're maybe seeing our peers around us taking. And, you know, I think I speak for all women when you think of a big event or seeing a bunch of family you haven't seen for a long time, and you just feel this pressure like people are going to notice if I've changed for the good or for the worse. And I think it's such a self-absorbed way to think, but I think most of us have these insecurities of like, oh, so-and-so's going to notice if I've gained 5 pounds. You know, they're going to, especially in the world of nutrition coaching, which I'm not really in that world right now, but I have been. And so I know that pressure too of like, your body is basically your walking advertisement. And so there's that pull of like, oh, I need to be billboard worthy of the service I'm offering. I think of how many women are out there offering nutrition services, fitness services, and just that standard of, you know, they have to be at their best at all times. And their best, or what we all think is the best, is like the leanest, most cut version of ourselves. And the reality is that that's rarely ever a healthy place to be long term. But that's where we've set the bar. And so over and over, I just have to ask myself over the past couple of years is like, Colby, do you want to be the leanest or do you want to be the healthiest you've ever been? And really just let go of some of those physical goals, which feels very countercultural and is very countercultural. So what goals can I make if body recomp isn't the ideal goal right now? I touched on some of those already. So a few more would be like lowering processed sugar, just making that a priority. Being aware of boredom snacking. Just because I'm focused on maybe eating even more right now than I have in the past, doesn't mean it's a free-for-all. It means I actually have to really be in tune with, am I hungry or am I bored or am I stressed? So being aware of those things, those are goals that I have of being extremely self-aware and being very disciplined in that. Being aware of emotional food choices goes hand in hand with that. Focusing on protein and healthy fats. So for me, I definitely have noticed in the last few years that like I am a big carbs girl, and the more I eat, the more I want to eat of carbs. And I just was struggling to feel that satisfaction. And so I've really focused on adding more fats in avocado, higher fat proteins instead of being so carb heavy. And I'm getting most of my carbs from fruits, squash, zucchini, a little bit of sweet potato here and there. But because I've wondered about oxalates and my skin being possibly connected, I'm being a little bit careful of potatoes and beets and some of those high oxalate root vegetables. Doing lots of carrots, steamed carrots. My body loves those. They feel so good in my like digestive system and all that. So, but yeah, I'm really focusing on higher fat meats and the avocado and those healthy fats, and just finding more satiating meals so that I'm able to make it the stretches between meals. I was finding I would eat breakfast and I'd be hungry like an hour later. And so one of my goals has been to have such stable blood sugar from meal to meal that I can actually eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. And so I'm eating bigger breakfast, lunch, dinner, but I'm not having the snacks in between and the like snackiness in between. And that's been awesome. So right now, like my meals are like 800 calories a meal minimum, probably, when I do those 3 meals. And so I feel full and satisfied when I'm done. And then dialing in supplement needs, which involves chatting with my Christian health practitioner and just making a plan there, and then just paying attention to how my body's responding to those things. So those are some of the ways. I feel like I had thought of a few other ones that never got written down, and now of course they're gone. But yeah, so those are just some of the ways that I have been able to still have goals and have a mindset of improvement without it being attached to any sort of physical appearance goal. And I think it's been like such a cool, healthy way. I've always, how do I put that? I have always wanted to be that healthy on the mindset side of things when it comes to appearance. But it hasn't always come super easy. It's been a choice over the years, and it's still daily a choice. So if that's you, if you're like, I really want to get healthier, but like my main priority is wanting to look a certain way, can I just encourage you to just like put that down and actually just focus on true health? And maybe for a season, and then maybe there's room for those fun like mini cuts where you can feel your best going on vacation and whatnot. But I just think there's so much more for us as women. There's so much more for us to have enough energy in the day. There was times where I was pushing myself really hard physically and had myself in a little bit of a deficit. And I never, if you know me, I'm a hungry girl. I never went super low on my calories, but I knew my body I knew I could eat more because I'm the girl that like needs to tell herself to stop usually. But yeah, I still know there was times where I was looking at my macros for the day, and it was like this mental like, okay, this has to be enough to get me through the day. And, I almost, your body does like, you downregulate you try to preserve energy. You want to sit more. You want to do less. And that affected how much energy I had for my kids. And like, you're almost counting, if you're counting down the time to bed because you want to just like, you need more fuel in your body in order to stay up and keep doing things, that's something to stop and think about, because I don't think I realized that my body was living in like stress mode for a lot of years. because on paper, I actually looked like I was eating plenty of food. Most women, I was eating more than most women, but I was still having more hunger, and I was kind of pushing it to the side and not listening to it, because I was like, well, there's no way, like on paper and in calculations, like this should be maintenance, not fat loss, not like this shouldn't be anything crazy on my body. And yet my body was responding as though it was crazy. And so I really learned that, our bodies are smart. And while I would tell women that all the time, listen to your fullness and hunger cues, I still had a hard time trusting my own hunger cues, because it just on paper looked like so much. And so that's where, the last couple of years have been cool in that way, where I've really tuned into like, you know what, maybe my body does need more. And maybe I will sit a few pounds higher than what I thought should be normal for me. But maybe I actually have the energy to play games with my family at the end of the day and enjoy them all the way until they go to bed, because I'm not like tired and hungry. So that's my little TED Talk, my little update on kind of where I'm trying to keep my mindset on health and some of the things I've learned. And maybe you're in a similar spot and it's helpful for you to hear somebody else processing these things and talking them through. I think for me, kind of having the title of health coach at any point kind of isolates you, where you feel like, you have to have it all together all the time. And that's just not true. Like, everybody has struggles, and I think we all need accountability. We all need to acknowledge that even if we know the right answer on something, we don't always take our own advice. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now, and it's a little update, and I feel a little bit vulnerable sharing all of that, but I also just feel like we walk through things in life because other people also do, and that maybe sharing things like that make other people not feel alone in it. And I've come to realize that I felt so much like, oh, it's all my fault. Everything I'm dealing with is my fault. Maybe I underate, maybe I overexercised. But when I actually think about the last couple of years and all that I've done to nourish my body and to, not overexercise and all that, and yet it still brought me to a place where I've needed some extra supplement support and whatnot. And I've realized that it may not all have been my own actions, that there are hereditary things, there are genetics, there are so many things at play. There's environmental factors, and I've just very easily come to get to a place where it's like everything's my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault. And then you almost feel embarrassed over having any issues. You feel just lonely and isolated. And so if that's you, I just want you to know that there are others out there who probably feel the same way as you, and it's not your fault. And we're all on our own path and journey, and the Lord's teaching us all different things, but maybe something that He's taught me through all of this will encourage you in whatever you're going through today. So subscribe. I would love to have you guys subscribe. This is a new platform for me. At the moment, I kind of feel like I'm talking to myself, but I know that the Lord will bring the right people across this channel, the right women, and maybe there's a beautiful community to be formed here. So, bye.